Hi out there, everybody. This is Leslie from the Live Animal Program here at the Natural History Museum. Now, I manage the vertebrate live animals here, and today I've got a really fun afternoon planned for lunchtime with live animals. As a matter of fact, it's going to be literally lunchtime with a live animal. Right behind me, you see Juniper. Juniper is a Southern Pacific rattlesnake. He is a really cool guy. And now listen, don't leave yet, okay? Trust me on this one. We're going to talk about this. Don't go. Because what you're going to see today, it matters in the natural world, all right? The food we're going to feed is not alive, all right? That's the one thing that you need to know. And I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to do a scary voice or scary music. I don't like that stuff. We're just going to talk about a very natural thing that's not that weird, not that scary, not that different, okay? You're going to stay? You trust me? Because I've actually done this hundreds of times for guests here at the museum, visitors at the museum. And most of the time, it's the adults who are a little worried about it, not the kids. So if there's any kids out there, tell your adults, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. All right, so here's what we're going to see. This is Juniper, the Southern Pacific rattlesnake. We call him Junebug. Aww. And this right back here is Greg. He's an animal care specialist. We call him Greg. Okay. Now, Greg and I actually already loaded up Juniper into this feeding cage. And I'm going to tell you how we did that, but it's important to know that, we wanted to concentrate on what we were doing so that we could talk to you separately, all right? Here's how we did this. Now, this is not an instruction manual, okay? We don't want you to go handling venomous snakes. We are professionals, but it's interesting to know how we do it. So we use tongs like this to hold on to the snake. You can see it doesn't hurt him at all. It just holds him a little bit. And then in the back end, a lot of times, we'll use a snake hook, which just lifts him up, all right? So we work as a team together to get him loaded up into this feeding container, okay? Now, what are we going to talk about today? Snakes are predators, as you know, and some people think that's really weird and strange, but I don't think it's so weird and strange, In fact, here's some predators. Nobody thinks these guys are weirdo bad guys because they eat meat, right? And as a matter of fact, I bet some of you out there eat snake food. I know, it sounds a little bit strange, but it's true. Greg, do you eat snake food?
I do.
I eat snake food too. Now, there might be some vegans out there, okay? You guys, you don't eat snake food, but the rest of us actually do. Any kids out there? Let's be snakes together, okay? We're slithering along. Do some tongue flicking, okay? We're going to find some food to eat. Now, Greg, what's the number one thing that what's the number one thing that snakes like to eat?
You give it away, but they like to eat rodents.
They sure do like to eat rodents. And it's a good thing, too. One rat can have 208 babies a year. And when those babies have babies, that's 43,000 rats in just a couple of years. And that's just one kind of rodent. Look at all of these different kinds of rodents that could be having lots and lots of babies. They have lots and lots of babies because lots and lots of different animals like to eat them. Greg, what's your nickname for rodents?
Nature's potato chips.
Nature's potato chips is what Greg calls them. So it's a good thing, all right? These predators, they keep the balance, okay? Now, does anyone out there eat? Now, rodents are mammals. Does anyone out there eat mammals? Greg, do you eat mammals? He eats mammals. I sometimes eat mammals. I know none of you guys eat rat burgers, okay, or mouse pizza, but does anyone eat cow or pig? Hot dogs or hamburgers? Not so weird, right? Not so weird. Okay. Now, let's be snakes again. We're slithering along. We're going to find something else to eat. What's another common thing that snakes like to eat? Greg?
Fish and frogs.
Fish and frogs. Now, frog legs, some people actually eat them. I don't know if anyone out there does, but fish is a little bit more common, okay? Fish sticks, salmon, sushi, right? Here's a snake eating a fish. Doesn't he look silly? Now, in future episodes, we're going to talk about how that amazing jaw stretches out. There's a lot to talk about with snakes. And what's one last thing? Oh, by the way, kids, so we're slithering along, and it's pretty obvious that a snake can go down into a hole, but did you know they can swim too? So they can go down into a hole to get a rodent, no pesky legs to get in the way. They can swim in water. They're natural swimmers, all right? And what's one last thing, Greg, that snakes like to eat?
Eat birds and eggs.
Birds and eggs. Does anyone out there eat eggs? Does anyone out there eat birds? Greg does. Is he a weirdo? Well, not for that reason, but I don't think so, okay? If you eat chicken, if you eat turkey, that's a bird. Sometimes I ask kids, what kind of animal is a chicken? And they go, a chicken! It's a bird, okay? Here is a snake eating an egg. How cool is that? So, if you guys eat eggs, if you eat fish, if you eat hot dogs, hamburgers, you're eating snake food, right? It's not so weird. Snakes are not bad guys because they have to catch their own food. He can't go to the drive-thru, right? He's got to catch it himself. In fact, I feel sorry for them. Sometimes they have to wait weeks for food to come by. Weeks. Could you imagine if the only way you could get a pizza was to just wait weeks for a pizza delivery guy to walk by and you had to jump on his back and try to get some pizza? Just kidding, don't do that. Tip your delivery person, folks. All right. So it's hard for predators. It's really not that easy out there. All right, so here's what we're going to see today, okay? I've told you about this tool. This is our feeding container, okay? This is basically his restaurant, actually. So we also are going to use tongs. Greg's going to show you the tongs to use to hand Junebug the food. We don't want him to make a mistake and miss. If our hands happen to smell good, it would be our fault if we did that. So all of our snakes actually eat in a restaurant like this, and we hand them food with tongs. Okay, now we're going to show you the food, all right? Again, it's not alive. And I want you to remember, it's just meat. It's just like a furry chicken nugget, okay? And here at the museum, we're always polite. We don't say, ew, yuck, gross. We say, wow, interesting, when we see new things, all right? Let's practice. Wow, interesting. Okay. All right, Greg's going to show you the food now. There it is. It's a defrosted mouse, okay? Just like a defrosted chicken nugget. It's not really all that different. So Greg's actually going to hand him Junebug the food here. Now, I want to remind you, Junebug is a live animal. He's not a robot. So I can't promise he's going to eat, but he's pretty good. Okay, you see his tongue flicking there. All right, he's thinking about it. I think he's going to get it. He turned his head. Now, he does have to bite his food, okay? Just like you bite your food, Juniper has to bite his food too. Sometimes he bites hard. Sometimes he bites it so gently, like he's taking the tiniest little hamburger. That's what he did today. He's got himself a tiny little hamburger. He takes it so gently, but remember, they do have to bite it. Why? Is it going to just jump in his mouth? No. He can't just throw his body around it. No, all snakes have to bite their food, right? But let's talk about that for a second. How do snakes catch their food? I'm going to try not to block Juniper because that's pretty cool to watch. This is the skull, I'm trying to get it in focus for you. Sorry, I got to block Junie for a second. A venomous snake, okay? Can you see those fangs? Not all snakes have fangs. Fangs are for delivering venom, not poison, venom, okay? And these are the teeth of a non-venomous snake. The vast majority of the world's snakes have no venom. If this was all the world's snakes, okay, 4/5 have no venom, all right? So those teeth have a purpose. They hold on. So they all have teeth, but they don't all have fangs, okay? So they hold on. Now, what's another reason an animal bites? A lot of people know the answer when I ask, why does a dog bite? When it's scared, right? A cat bites when it's scared, okay? Snakes bite when they're scared, too. But believe it or not, the venom in a rattlesnake, for example, it's not for defense. There's a lot of scientific evidence, actually, that it's not for defense, it's for their prey, right? They don't want to use it for defense. Rattlesnakes do not attack people. They're actually very shy, but they might need to defend themselves sometimes, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute, but real quick, this venom, I want to tell you, it's really cool. So it's really this, if you want to be more impressed by venom, I'm going to tell you it's this amazing, complex mosaic of proteins and other compounds that are zootoxic, meaning toxic to us, plus other animals, but they can be used in human medicine and are. Venoms are used in human medicine. Although the primary reason for venom is to disable their prey through a variety of avenues in this ongoing evolutionary arms race between predator and prey. Okay, I get excited. All right? It's really cool. If you want to be a little bit less impressed by venom because you maybe find it a little strange, I'll just tell you, it's just fancy spit, okay? Fancy spit with toxic proteins. And actually, they have these venom glands, which are not too terribly different from our own saliva glands, okay? Sorry, I know the text is backwards, but you can see saliva glands and venom glands are kind of in the same place. So what this does, it's so cool. He can use this venom to dispatch his prey from a distance. Now, why does he want to do that? Did you know that prey can be dangerous to him? Rodents can hurt him, and snakes have even been killed by rodents before. They have sharp teeth. So what he can do is he can bite the prey and then just kind of leisurely follow it, right? It's actually really cool. He can follow the smell of the prey by tongue flicking, okay? He can follow the smell of his own venom, which is now in the prey. And he can use something extra special cool on the front of his face called a loreal pit. It's an infrared sensor on his lip. He can see heat. He can follow the heat signature, the heat trail of that prey to fractions of degrees. How cool is that? Now I'm actually going to show you, we have an infrared camera over here. And you know, we humans have to use technology in order to see infrared. He's really swallowing that mouse now. All right, so here's an infrared camera that can see heat. Now, can you guys see my hand? Here we go. I'm going to get a little bit closer. Here I am. You can see my hand, you can see heat, and you can see that the center of my hand is the hottest, right? The tips are a little bit cooler. Hottest is the yellow, bright white color. I'm going to show you. I'm going to stick my hand inside of a plastic bag. You can still see my hand. How cool is that? Because you can see the heat. That's kind of what it's like to be a rattlesnake, seeing with your lip. How cool is that? Could you imagine having this extra set of eyes on your lip? It's pretty cool, I think. All right. So the last thing I want to tell you is that rattlesnakes are an amazing and important part of our food chain, okay? They both eat and are eaten by so many different animals. I told you about some of the animals they eat, right? They help keep the balance. But don't forget, these guys are predators. They all want rattlesnakes around. They love rattlesnakes for lunch, okay? They really matter in our ecosystem. So we want you to give respect to them. You know, we're not telling you to go hug one because you think they're so cool. Give them space, give them respect. And I mentioned before, sometimes animals bite in defense, and that's true. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret, though, okay? You know that half of venomous snake bites in this country can be eliminated with this one super special secret trick? Click below to find out. I'm just kidding. I'm going to tell you what it is. The trick is, don't pick them up. If you step back when you see that it's a venomous snake, in California it has a rattle, okay? That sounds too simple to be true, but it's true. Over half of bites can be eliminated if you just don't pick them up. Because that's not what's happening out there, folks. Some people are making some bad decisions and messing with snakes. And the snake is going to need to defend himself. So is that the snake's fault? Not necessarily, okay? So think about that, you know, respect them. I know that you guys are too smart to do something like that, and give them the respect that they deserve, all right? So that's all. We all agree that snakes are just sweet babies with dangerous faces, okay? Just kidding. Rattlesnakes, by the way, just rattlesnakes. All right, so in future episodes, we have so much more to talk about with snakes. We'll talk about shedding. We'll talk about how they can go for weeks without eating. We'll talk about those amazing skulls, and we have so many other animals to show you too. So I hope you'll keep joining us. By the way, check out our Instagram. You can watch a video of Juniper going on a walkabout outside. That's pretty fun. We also have past episodes about snake behavior. So that Instagram is at @NHMLA_live animals. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again really soon.